Jesse, I'm very excited. We got a lot of big topics to talk about in this week's Calling the Clock. The board this week is just chock full of big things. I guess let's not waste any time, right? Let's jump right into it.
Let's go ahead and put that little clock on the screen. Let's go ahead and set it for 2 minutes. And let's get going. Jason Koon, we saw him last week.
He was a great guest.
Holy crap, yes.
It was awesome to see him go straight from our show, jump into the $250,000 super high roller that we just talked about.
Make day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then get a little phone call from the wifey saying, hey, get your ass home right now. I have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, because if you remember our interview with him, they were expecting a child.
I hope my whisper got I don't know. I've never whispered before in here.
I think it probably did.
Okay.
But that baby was on the way. And so Jason Koon went to WSOP officials and said, hey, I'm not going to be making it. I want to be there for the birth of my child with my wife. Can we do something here? Because it's a $250,000 buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. And so in this case, the tournament director used his discretion, in which he has the power to do, and said, you know what? We're going to void your entry. We're going to take your chips out of play, and we're going to refund you the $250,000. Now, this was quite a polarizing decision in the poker world on social media. A lot of people saying, well, what the hell? Once the chips are in play or what have you. Others saying, great job by the WSOP on and recognizing a special situation and making an exception, if you will. I think it's not as bad as a lot of people like to portray. I think that, he's above chips. Registration was still open. It was still open into day 2. And so kind of no harm, no foul. I don't think he had busted anybody in the tournament. And I think the WSOP took the totality of it all and said, you know what? He's sacrificing his equity. He actually has more than the starting stack. He's a good player. We don't see a problem here, and I don't think the other players really would have seen a problem either.
Do we know if he had the baby?
I don't know for sure.
I checked social media. I mean,
he's pretty private. He even said in our interview, he really doesn't do much social media. And I didn't want to contact him, so fresh. I think it's probably safe to say that he did.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Like I said, to go from talking with us here in the studio to 24 hours later, likely, having the birth of his second child.
Yeah, it was exciting to see him here and to hear his thoughts on the whole thing. And so wish you luck, Jason. Wish everybody at home happy, healthy, all good. All right, Chris Brewer. Let's talk about this $250K more. Chris Brewer wins his first bracelet and $5 million. How sick.
Yeah, no. So the Martin Cabral really, like we said, dominated the headlines a little bit, but it was actually kind of a happy ending, if you will, right? Martin didn't win. A lot of people didn't want to see him win. Instead, Chris Brewer, who a lot of people did want to see, took it down. Now, it was, I don't know how many episodes ago, but one of the topics on the Calling the Clock was Chris Brewer's
run bad.
Yeah, run bad. Yeah. And clearly not anymore.
He cuts off the mullet and he just couldn't win until now.
In the last hand, the way he won it too, I think it was, did he have ace-6 against ace-king or something? Anyways, he made a straight or something like that. He got lucky. Yeah. And so I think that puts to bed the Chris Brewer run bad, and he's winning the biggest buy-in of the summer for $5.3 million. And as we said, his first bracelet, which is exciting. So he takes his name off the best without a bracelet list, follows in the footsteps. Jerry Wong was another guy. Ike Haxton that won one earlier this summer too. So a lot of people getting there first.
The best was just how emotional he was. Like, I mean, you could tell how much that meant to him. You could tell he jumps out of his seat. Mm-hmm. He runs over to his rail, and just there's a picture that Haley got, or I think it's Haley's picture, where his arms are wide open. He's like, he's just so happy. And I mean, there are people in that who play those high rollers who just don't show those emotions at all. I mean, it's wins, losses. They understand the variance of everything. But for Chris, I think this is just a monkey on his back that he was just waiting. He's won before so many things at PokerGo Studio, etc. It's not like he's never won a big event before, but this is his first bracelet, and it's definitely not going to be his last. I mean, he's here to stay. It feels like. So I'm really happy for him.
And kudos to him in the way he behaved at that final table with Martin Cabral doing his antics. I think Chris Brewer was the one who handled it the best. He kind of rolled with it, didn't let it get under his skin, and ended up going on to keep his composure and win this tournament heads up against Artur Matarosian.
He still needs to grow the mullet back, though.
Right? He starts now.
Yeah, grow back. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about Jungleman. He's wearing the T800. If you're not familiar, the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's wearing that damaged Terminator face.
So I got a heads up.
Stuff.
I got an email from the woman who kind of manages him and sometimes hooks us up with stories. And she said, hey, he's going to be coming in costume again. Do you want to send some people over to where he's going to have his makeup done? Nice. So we did. We sent Lara Nisi and the cameraman over there. We didn't know what his outfit was going to be. Okay. And as you said, he comes as the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator 2 guy. And it actually looks pretty damn good.
Why do you say Terminator 2? It's also Terminator 1.
Well, yes, but I think this is his look from Terminator 2, right?
See, this just shows Chad has not watched enough Terminator movies.
Not, at least not the first one.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it. It's just not as good. It's
even
T2.
Even our article, I remember seeing one of the paragraphs like, from 1992. I'm like, no, that's wrong. It was from the 80s. It was my first movie. My parents took me to the drive-in when I was like 3 years old.
But does he dress like this in the leather
the
thing? Because I remember in Terminator 2, he arrives and he's, let's not get into movie talk. We got to talk Jungleman because he's going for his, was going for his third straight
and
PPC
here's
title.
Why we can keep talking about Terminator, because he's already out.
Well, that's true. He
busted.
Yeah, he busted on day 2. Made a adamant attempt, I guess.
Absolutely.
But
unfortunately, the battery ran out. Because the robot bullshit. It's over.
It was cool to see him though, and he did a video, where he says he's back to take on the $50,000 Poker Players Championship. Does the whole hasta la vista. I got to give Jungleman credit. Like when he commits to a costume or a gimmick, he really goes for it. He lives it throughout the tournament. It's not like he just comes in, shows up, and then is back to his normal self. Like he plays the tournament as the character he's dressed as, which is I think pretty funny.
He was dropping chips very robotically. It was so goofy. No, Jungleman's great, man. I think that, and especially bring it to the biggest buy-in of the WSOP. Like, come on.
Yeah.
How cool is that? How fun.
And this is going to roll into the next one because he ended up eliminating, I think, Chris Moneymaker, or took most of his chips.
Ding, ding, ding. That's right. Chris Moneymaker is our next topic. Moneymaker makes his first appearance at the 2023 WSOP at the Poker Players Championship. And unfortunately, a certain robot, Dan Cates,
he was terminated.
Took all of his chips. That's right, exactly.
Chris Moneymaker above your shoulder over there on the poster.
That's right. Yeah, what's up, Chris? Man, I've been a fan of Chris for years and years, dude. I mean, obviously, I met him at Run It Up Reno where he came in. He was part of our auction to play in the tag team event. He, Chris is so good. So I'm unfortunately, he just has not been able to play the WSP because of family. His kids are growing up. And he loves his children, and he just wants to spend time at home. And what that means is, like, this WSOP is not a time really for parents because we've heard from Mercier, from others, like it's just so hard with children. And Chris has said, like, he really wants to win a second bracelet. We were on the phone talking a few months ago, and he just told me how badly he wants to win a bracelet this summer because it's been 20 years. But at the same time, his family is so much more important,
right?
And so I love that from Chris. He posted a tweet today. A picture of him with his disheveled hair, face, and we'll throw up here for you guys. Face of a guy who busted a 50K, a 3K, and a 1,500 yesterday, and on his way to play a 500 today. The $500 freeze out is going to make massive lines, and Moneymaker is going to be in that field, and I love it.
I think the 50K Poker Players Championship for Moneymaker very well may be the biggest buy-in he's ever played.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and like he said, it was a bucket list item, which I think is great for him to take the time to go play it because it is a bucket list item for a lot of players. I know Matt Vengren is another one who got in for the first time ever, and it's an event I think I dream of playing it one day if I'd be able to sit down and go up against the best in the game.
Yeah.
I give Chris a lot of credit because he's primarily a no-limit holdem player, right? That's what we know. So to go in and play the 9-game mix with these guys, I think that was pretty awesome. And he said fun.
Omaha and the studs he's been playing and practicing, so he felt like he had a shot. Yeah. But unfortunately, ding, ding, it's over. All right, Benny Glaser. Oh, I love this, dude. I'm a big Benny fan. Benny and I rode in an Uber together when I went in October to the EPT. Mm-hmm. We took an Uber from the airport, got stuck in traffic for like an hour and a half together, and just sat and chatted. I'm such a big Benny Glaser fan. So to see him win his 5th, joining the 5-timers club, and he's amongst 4 people who've won their 5th bracelet this summer. How insane is this? But hey, he takes it down in a tournament he's very familiar with when he won a bracelet in before, the Deuce to 7 Triple Draw Championship, 10K buy-in. Benny Glaser sits about the top with a 311K and his 5th bracelet. So good.
Yeah, it seems like almost commonplace that Benny Glaser is going to be winning something, whether it's a WSOP bracelet, whether it's an online scoop title. Didn't he finish runner-up in the WPT World Championship last December? He just is a crusher.
Gosh.
I think so, to Elliot Houdon. Regardless, and he's still in the 50K Poker Players Championship right now, 28 players left. He's the short stack. But to speak to, like you said, how much he's beloved, I remember last year he was in the Poker Players Championship. I believe he finished 4th, busted that tournament, which has to be very demoralizing, but still made his way over to the MGM, which is where a lot of the Poker News crew was, to celebrate a birthday for one of the members of the poker media. So I just thought that was a very classy move to go bust this huge tournament, probably his favorite of the year, but still come over there. And it's just great to see him in winning number 5. It's just incredible. He's one of the best players in the world, hands down. He can do it live. He can do it online, mixed games, no limit hold'em, whatever it is.
But mixed games are where I'm most scared of him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When I see him jump into a low stakes field, I'm like, okay, just don't reg Jesse. Because Benny's in it, and Benny's the crusher. Yeah, congratulations, Benny. So happy to see it. I mean, we might see a 6th. We might. He's not done. He's not done this summer.
Yeah, plenty of time.
For damn sure. All right, Johnny Chan, John the Man. Oh, no 11th bracelet. So, I mean, how sick is that he made a deep run? The poker community loves and hates Johnny Chan, Chad Holloway.
Yeah, I mean, we're always talking about Phil Hellmuth, making a bracelet run, or maybe Phil Ivey. Remember, it was Johnny Chan, Phil Ivey, and Doyle Brunson tied at 10 bracelets. Hellmuth was there at one point, but obviously took a big lead. But those other 3 have been stuck at number 10 for quite a while now. And of course, we lost Doyle. So you got Johnny Chan and Phil Ivey. Yep. Johnny Chan focuses mainly on cash games. Yeah. He rarely plays in poker tournaments. You'll see him in the main event, maybe a few others here and there. And one of them he couldn't resist, apparently, was this new event at the WSOP, event number 41, $1,500 Big O. Now, do you know about what Big O was about?
Yeah, 5-card, high-low?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and he
Must play 2. It's Omaha, yeah.
And it was a big turnout, and he made a deep run, and it was pretty exciting. Like, holy shit, Johnny Chan the Master.
Yeah, 14th place is his finish. I got to meet Johnny Chan last year at the Hall of Fame, and I've heard from people is that he's just short. He's not big into talking to people, and it makes sense, and so he comes across kind of like an asshole. But I had the best fucking conversation with him, Chad. Found out that we both went to the same. We both from Houston, Texas. We both went to the same high school, Lamar High School, and me just talking to him about that, he just lit up like a Christmas tree. Like I'm a Johnny Chan fan. And so seeing this, I mean, I'm a big Rounders fan too.
Yep.
It's unfortunately he didn't make that deep run for that 11th bracelet, but he's still here all summer. I think we'll see him definitely in the Hall of Fame bounty event, and the main event. It feels like he always plays the main event too. So
I actually was texting with him even before this deep run, saying, "Hey, let's catch up. Let's do an interview."
Yeah.
And he's always been very responsive. And he said, "Yeah, I'm here playing cash in the King's Lounge.
Oh,
come by whenever you want." And hopefully we'll get him maybe on the show at some point. That would be great to have Johnny Chan on the show.
I would say yes, absolutely. All right, a friend of Chad, someone I'm familiar with too, Gershon. What's it? How do you pronounce
Gershon Distenfeld.
Distenfeld.
Yeah. Now, I got to know Gershon back in 2020 when he final tabled the WSOP hybrid event. Remember, that was the COVID year, so they started online, and then they brought them to Las Vegas, just the final table
the
live.
Global and the US side to play their final tables live, and then the heads up between the 2 winners for the bracelet. That's
right. And it was at, you remember, that was the year Upeshka de Silva tested positive for COVID, and so got yanked and automatically finished in 9th place.
Yep.
Gershon was short stacked, ended up busting in 8th place right after. He was getting coaching from Jonathan Little back then, $125,000. But what made it very special is he donated it all to charity.
Yeah.
Right.
And what I love about this too is that, Chad, you and I have been working at PokerNews for a while. We've been at a lot of WSOPs, and we are 2 of like the very few who are there for that one, for that 2020. Like, I mean, today there's a lot of press, lots of media. But we were what 2 out of like 3 people. It was like you, me, and Sarah.
Yeah.
So almost it.
And it got better because then he comes in 2021, the last year at the Rio.
Yes.
Right. And he enters event number, whatever it was, event number 48, $1,500 no limit hold'em shootout. Win your table, go to the next round, win the table.
That's right.
He won it all.
Yes.
Won a bracelet.
Got his bracelet. Boom.
Yeah. $204,000. You know what he did with
Donated it all.
Donated it all to charity.
So he makes a deep run in the Monster Stack?
This year's Monster Stack,
and he makes it day 3. I think he finished 93rd.
He did, yeah. So it was exciting because he told me even before the tournament began, he said, "Hey, Chad, I'm playing again. Guess what? It's all going to go to charity once again." And so I like to keep an eye on it. I think it's great. I think it's one of the most generous people I've ever met.
It doesn't get a spotlight either. I mean, how cool is that someone's out there playing just to give away, just to help benefit people?
And in this field, so 8,317. So when he cracks the top 100, it's like, man, if he wins this, $1.1 million up top. Didn't get there. Still got $10,500 for 93rd.
Yep. Okay. Well, we got one more shot this week for another 5-timer, and that is Joe Cada. We are talking about the Monster Stack. Today is day 4. What's the number of players still in the field, Chad?
It's saying right now 43 out of the 83-17.
Yeah. So last time I checked, he's around 24th. Yeah. So he was sitting close to the middle when we started this podcast. I guess they're like 48 then. So yeah,
he's sitting 4th in chips right now.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. According to our live updates on PokerNews.com, he's got 21 million. So if those are up to date, he's putting himself in a position to win number 5. And like, what would that be? How many players have won their 5th bracelet already this summer in the first 2.5 weeks?
4. We got Glaser, we got Yoon, we have REA, and we have, of course, I'm always going to forget one. Who's the other person?
Oh, I'm gonna have to let me do a
Angry John.
Yeah, John Monet.
Yeah, there we go.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
These guys are winning. And then Sean Deeb, of course, won from 5 to 6.
Yep.
That's crazy. And then, as we mentioned already, some of the big names winning their first ones. Like this is the year of the
just
name
a crazy
pro,
year.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Where's Hellmuth and Negreanu though?
We ask that every week.
We sure do, man. But I mean, so there's a good chance that Joe Cada could be our 5th 5-timer of the summer. I mean, I basically feel like we have to that he's going to win it. I mean, at this point,
he knows how to run deep. Obviously, winning the main event in 2009, I think it was, right? And then he won. What was it? His 2018, the closer. That was another massive field, $1,500 buy-in event, and he won that.
They won 2 in 2021.
He won. So he's 2009 main event, 2014 10K 6-max championship.
Yeah.
2018 the $3,000 no limit hold'em shootout. And then 2018, the closer.
So he won 21. Yeah, he won 2. I know there's a year where he won 2. 18, not 2021.
So it was, it was 5 years from 2009 to 14 before he won again. 4 years then to 18. We're on 5 years now. So maybe 5 years.
Good luck, Joe.
Bracelets.
Good luck, Joe. Good luck, Joe, from PokerNews team. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our Calling the Clock segment. It's time to bring in not 1, not 2, no, 2. 2 guests. That's right. WPT ambassadors. Let's bring them in. Andrew Nemi and Bradley Owen.